Good evening. It is Tuesday, January 23rd, 2018. My name is Jacob,
And I'm Danielle.
and we are the Proteus Podcast. Ideas in all shapes and forms.
Hello, Rabbit.
Hello, puppet.
No. Hello, Rabbit. It's like
Hello,
from Winnie the
rabbit.
Pooh.
Oh,
Winnie the Pooh.
hello, pig. I don't know.
Do you remember Winnie the Pooh?
Yeah, but I don't remember that part at all.
Oh, well, that's how Pooh would always address Rabbit. He'd be like, "Hello, Rabbit."
It was more like,
And
hello. Anyways, neither of us can do Winnie the Pooh's voice, is what we've just learned.
that's just because you have no patience for it.
No, I can't do it either. The person that did Winnie the Pooh's voice was a very special person, and it's very sad that we lost the original one.
It's true. It's true. But um, I was thinking about Rabbit because I was at Walt Disney World
Disney World.
and I saw Pooh Bear and Tigger.
Pooh Bear, Winnie the Pooh Bear.
And I rode the Winnie the Pooh ride,
Ooh,
and I saw Rabbit in the Winnie the Pooh ride.
and how was that?
Oh, well, it's an animatronic rabbit.
So horrifying, and would
No,
scar you for life if you were only 5?
no, it was great, actually.
Oh,
It was supremely amazing. Every bit of my Walt Disney World trip, Jake, was great.
so what you're saying is you went to Florida and hugged a Wookiee?
That's true. I also hugged a Wookiee. Not just any Wookiee, though.
The Wookiee.
The Wookiee. Chewbacca.
Yes, yes.
And all of Star Wars fans can be jealous of me.
We all are jealous of you.
Even Wookiee noised at me.
That's awesome.
Yeah, they had it all set up. I don't know how they did it, but it was great. He had a conversation with me.
I'm jealous.
Yeah, well, you should be. I also had a conversation with BB-8,
Mm-hmm.
and I had a conversation with Kylo Ren.
I bet that was interesting.
Kylo wanted me to go to the dark side.
Have you seen that video of I guess it's probably there. They have some kind of like stage thing where at least they used to where like Vader would fight a bunch of people and then they'd bring like one audience member up to help fight against Vader, right?
Uh-huh.
And there's a video where they brought this little girl up and she's supposed to help the Jedi. And instead, she like kneels down and swears allegiance to Vader right there, and they all kind of have to improvise. It's like, oh, this has never happened before. It's pretty cute because she's probably like 7 or something, I'd guess.
Yeah, that's a little girl whose parents taught her the ways of the dark side.
Yeah, she's probably gonna grow up to be important.
But yeah, I had a good time.
That's
Overall.
awesome. I'm glad you had a wonderful time.
I did. I did indeed. It was magical. From a magical place.
No,
How about you?
I've been working.
Nonstop.
There's nothing magical about it at all. No, things have been all right. Things have been all right. The abject chaos of the holidays is mostly over.
I mean, the holidays have been done now, Jake.
There's residual chaos that comes from the holidays.
You're 22 days past New Year's now.
Like I said, the residual chaos from the holidays is pretty much done with now, and things are getting okay.
Mm-hmm. Did you all finally get that shipment of pumpkin spice?
Mm-hmm. You know what day I got it?
Yesterday.
Let's see here. It would have been December 29th.
Just a tad bit too late.
It's like the last day. It's like, really? This shows up now?
So do y'all hold that for like another year? Like,
Nah, we'll be Gucci. But I'm going to start ordering it way in advance this next time.
okay. So, tell me, Jake, what are we going to talk about?
I think we should talk about metaphorical rabbit holes.
Okay, metaphorical rabbit holes. Do you mean the kind that where you start like uh
You
talking
very
about
innocently
something?
Googled something. 6.5 hours later, you look up and go, "Oh man, I better go to bed."
Okay. Okay.
That kind of metaphorical rabbit hole. You go down, not necessarily internet related, but it's like all of a sudden it's all this all the time, and so on and so forth.
So tell me then, what was your last metaphorical rabbit hole?
I've been down a couple internet rabbit holes in the last couple months. Recently, I accidentally went down the ancestry.com rabbit hole. Oh lordy, that's a deep bear hole,
And
deep
how
dark
much did
rabbit
that
hole.
cost you?
So far like $9.
Wait, there's a tiered system?
Oh yeah, there's a tiered system. If you want records from outside, from somewhere else on the planet besides the Americas, you're gonna need to upgrade your membership.
So if you've been in country for, your family's been in country for a good while, then you're okay.
Since 1855.
But like, let's say your family immigrated here, say, 50 years ago.
Yeah, I can't recommend trying to trace your ancestry. Yeah, it's like $27 too for international records. It's stupid.
So, who are you related to?
I am so stereotypically Norwegian. There are at least a half a dozen Olis and an actual Lena in my ancestry. So there's that.
And an actual lemur?
Lena. It's the stereotypical Oli and Lena Norwegian jokes.
I don't know those jokes.
Texans have no idea what I'm talking about. But if you get far enough north, there's Oli and Lena jokes.
Krista, I'm sure will know because,
Ask Krista about Oli and Lena jokes. She'll understand.
well, she has her door closed at the moment.
Well,
but
later.
I'll ask her later. You have to remind me though too.
Sure. I've been racking my brain to find because you know how most jokes are kind of just adapted to the local culture.
Uh-huh.
Like all the North Dakotan jokes in Montana are all Aggie jokes down here.
Oh yeah.
It's the same jokes. It's just characters are changed. I'm trying to figure out what the local version of Oli and Lena jokes are, and I haven't quite gotten that figured out yet.
They're
I'll
probably
figure it out.
really racist.
Probably. We'll just put a pin in that then.
So I've never done the ancestry.com thing.
Yeah.
How does that work?
Basically, you feed it as much information as you know, and then eventually it'll start spitting out, I guess its algorithm goes hunting and starts spitting out likely matches from public domain records like censuses and birth records and stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
And you check it against what you know and things like that, and you can find some information and push it back. I've pushed back the one portion of my family all the way back to like the 1750s in Norway, and that's where everything kind of grinds to a halt because I'm not willing to pay for more information.
Does it make you want to go and visit Norway?
It really kind of does, actually. I've wanted to do that for a long time. That's sort of on my list of things to do.
All right, let's do it together. I'll go with you.
Oh, okay. Maybe not tomorrow, but yeah.
We can do a podcast from Norway.
That does actually sound like a lot of fun.
We could do a series of them. We could be like discovering Jake's roots.
Yeah, that would actually be awesome. It's wild though, because that's from one side of my. Let's see, that'd be my dad's mom's family, right?
Uh-huh.
I can push, like I said, back to the 1750s, and then like my mom's side of the family, I apparently can push almost as far. But my dad's dad, apparently his parents just sprang into existence around 1900, and I can't find anything further back for them. Which suggests to me that they both come from pretty much dirt poor families that weren't even counted during the censuses.
Yeah, or they do you know if they immigrated or anything?
I know
like that?
they didn't. I know that the records I have, because I have a 1920 census, right?
Uh-huh.
That tells me where my great grandmother's parents were born and my great-grandfather's parents were born. But I can't find any useful information further back than that.
Huh.
Yeah, it's really surprising because there's actually a lot of information on most of the rest of the branches of my family, but for it to just grind to a halt in such recent history, honestly, is sort of unusual.
Or maybe they were like some type of government operatives.
No, I think they were just incredibly poor.
I mean, yeah, that's most likely it. But like, you could. I'm already building a whole sub-story.
Oh, hang on, I appreciate that.
I mean, that what time period would that put them in?
1900s.
1900s?
Yeah.
The World War.
It's just before World War One, and then obviously my great grandparents. Like I said, I know what states they were allegedly born in, maybe.
Uh-huh.
And that would have, they would have probably lived from 1850 on probably not even that, like 1870s onward would be the right age, the right time frame for them, based on. And even that's a stretch. They're probably birthdays before that are probably stretching it. So it's kind of weird. But like I said, it's a hell of a rabbit hole. Like I look up and holy shit, it's 2 a.m. I gotta go to bed. Because you're like, oh, there's one more piece of information in that. And because when you find things and get good, solid, confirmed information, the ancestry algorithm will churn around for a bit and spit out a little more. It's like, oh wait, because you've linked all this together, this now applies. And so after a while, you're just, okay, I'm gonna have to stop.
I'm gonna have to stop this now.
My whole system with that, though, because it's like a $9 a month subscription for Ancestry.com, is to, like, I'll mess with it for a month and shut it off. And apparently the algorithm still churns even though you're not playing with it. And then come back like 2 years later and it'll have like 90 hints. And I can go through and see if any of it's useful.
I should, if I really, really cared, and I probably should at some point, I should just talk with my Uncle Gary. He's done all the genealogy stuff.
Yeah. See, apparently one of my aunts has done a bunch of this. And so, but she's, I don't know, funny to talk to.
I know my dad has as well.
But my dad's dad, my granddad's getting old enough that he's the last useful source of information for one side of the family. And so I'm trying to get as much as I can sorted out now, and so I can ask him intelligent questions next time I see him.
When's that going to be?
Probably sometime in April, I would think. Hopefully.
Okay. Cool.
Because there's a few things that he's told us in the past that I can't confirm and are baffling. So I want to get that information one more time.
I want to hear those stories.
Those are private stories right now. Not for public consumption. I'll tell them to you though.
I'm later. Just saying.
Yeah.
So. I like stories that are like, that's baffling.
Yeah, it's like that doesn't line up with what I know, but that's interesting.
All right, I'm trying to think of. I get into that whenever I'm reading a book. Like books will send me down that. That time we played Factorio.
Yeah, Factorio is a rabbit hole for sure. You look up and oh god, how long have I been doing this?
Aaron and I were talking about it yesterday, and he was complaining that he couldn't get into it because we had already accomplished so much. And then I said the worst thing I could possibly say.
It's like, to beat the game, you're supposed to do it 12 times.
No. I said, well, we could just restart with all of us at square one. And he
He thinks that's a great idea?
No, he was like, I saw what it did to you too.
It only took us 2 or 3 days of obsessive grinding to get there.
Dude, I looked at that. We played that game for 50 hours.
We did. Like I said, 2 or 3 days of obsessive grinding.
I told him that you and I were playing that, and we started playing in the morning, and then it was like 2 a.m.
Oh my god. I didn't realize it was that long.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because, I remember we only played it 2 or 3 times.
No, we just like powered our.
I remember like we started out and we got the gist of it. And then we stopped and like we came back to it like the next day or like that next weekend. Like I remember there was only 2 or 3 play sessions to get that
Yeah,
50.
they were long.
Oh my
We
god.
played like
That's
that
right.
one.
That's a bad deep rabbit hole. Well, have I ever told you the rabbit when I did played Spore? You remember that game?
Oh yeah, I remember Spore.
I played all the way through from, the tide pool all the way to intergalactic in one setting over the course of about 18 hours. Maybe. No, because I played it at Ryan's, on Dan's computer. Like, I showed up and Dan wasn't there, and it was like, 4 in the afternoon or something. And we are just, okay, I'm going to try out this game for a few minutes. And then Dan walked in. It's like, hey, how you doing? And I look up and, oh, great. What time is it? Why are you here? Because he was, and it's 8 in the morning the next day.
Oh
So,
man.
Oops. I guess this game is beat. I'll stop now.
I did not like Spore.
I loved the idea of Sport. Its execution wasn't as good as had wanted it to be. The idea is amazing, the whole concept.
I will say that I'm trying to think of a game that I've properly rabbit holed. Civ 6.
Civ 6. I haven't played any Civ games in years because
I think
of that.
it was Civ 6. Let me check. Nope, it was 5. Civilization 5. I haven't played Civ 6 yet. Civ 5. 415 hours on record on Steam.
Jesus. That's a lot of hours.
That's
for a
lot
single
of days.
Is that were you playing multiplayer or is that single player?
Single player.
Lord have mercy.
Dude, there's something about that game. I get in there and the Sid Meier soundtrack kicks in. And I'm like planning how I'm going to take over the world.
See, I've always liked the Civilization games. I'm really bad at them, but I really enjoy them.
We should play a game together.
No, we shouldn't.
Why not?
Because you have 100 and so many hours?
415.
Because you have 415 hours.
So?
I don't know. I sort of did that a little bit with Minecraft when it first came out.
Oh god, I don't even want to know how many hours I've spent on Minecraft.
I'm glad there's not really a slash played on that. Because I've been in Minecraft since like way back, right?
Yeah, I remember. Like you were there when it was like everything was creative mode.
Yeah. Oh god, and there were these weird public servers. Let me speak to the Minecraft players who play it now. There were these weird public servers, right? And when Minecraft came out, the maps were extremely limited in size, right? I can't remember how many blocks long and wide and tall they were, but they were basically a cube that you could play in, right?
Was not infinite.
It was not infinite. And outside that restrained cube was water. You couldn't build in it, but it was there. But if you broke a wall, water would pour in, right? From that spot. And I think it still had normal terrain generation, but it had, a bedrock point, a sky cap, a max build point. And these servers would stay up for so long that eventually everything would have been mined out and then rebuilt and mined and built until it was just these and it got to where you couldn't get around, right? And so eventually the whole only way to travel would be to pillar up to the very top of the map and run across the top. And so the entire map is just a forest of pillars leading up to the cap where you could run around, and there'd be random holes. And so this started to get a little bit like Inception. Like you'd be running along the top and you'd fall through a hole and land in a cathedral that someone had built and then had been slightly maimed and had pillars growing through it. And like someone would clear out a big section and build something awesome and then come back 6 hours later and it's mostly just in ruins with pillars going through it. It was so surreal.
Aaron,
it was just this bizarre experience of things being built and destroyed and rebuilt at an incredible pace because these were public servers that most of the players of Minecraft were on. It was so strict. It was really something else.
Aaron, and I were talking about Minecraft. He said that he tried to get it to work, and only the new Microsoft client runs for him now. Like none of the like he can't get any of the older clients to run, and that Microsoft has ended support for mods. He was saying.
That
Which
seems
sounds terrible.
strange. Yeah, I don't know when I last launched that game.
What's that guy who's like looking for the end world?
That would be FLB. Farlands or Bust. I don't remember his.
Farlands.
And he's using an outdated client to do it.
Yeah. But anyway.
Yeah.
He so he was kind of sad about that. And I was like, yeah, I don't really feel like reinstalling Minecraft.
I still got it installed. Heck, I still even have a Feed the Beast launcher installed. I don't think I'm ever going to touch it again. Like the last few times I launched Minecraft and messed with a single player world, it's one of those like I've done everything. Like I know there's new stuff they've added. I just don't have it in me to go grind it out because of the materials required to do some of the new stuff are just insane. Like, and having played with the mods where you could build machines to at least gather some of that material for you.
Mm-hmm.
Like my enthusiasm just isn't there to sit there and grind out 1 million or to get enough diamond to do this or that or anything else.
Oh, did I tell you? Speaking of like games that we've spent a lot of rabbit holing time in,
You told me
what did I tell you?
that they're talking about releasing a vanilla WoW.
Yeah, they're gonna do it.
Yeah, and I told you, it's not that I want to go back to vanilla WoW. I want to go back to the feeling we had when we first played vanilla WoW, where everything was new. And that
right.
insane feeling of discovery.
You're right.
It would not be the same.
It wouldn't be.
Because that was what was amazing about WoW, especially for me, because that was the first major MMO I played, is like realizing, wait, this starting zone is just a tiny little section of the world, and there's like 20 or 30 zones this big or bigger. That's an incredible amount of space to be able to, and no load screens except for crossing between the two continents. It was just unheard of to me. And so,
Evercrack was my first MMO.
Yeah, I'm glad I missed that.
Yeah. Talking about a rabbit hole to end all rabbit holes.
Yeah, I just don't think I could do the MMO thing again. I don't have the free time anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I had so much fun with WoW for so many years. But then it got to the point where I'd just get on and fly around and like, I guess I'm going to log off. I feel like doing anything.
Let me change track for a moment. Speaking of that awe-inspiring, I've seen a game changer feeling. I went to Walt Disney World, and I went to Animal Kingdom, and I went to the World of Pandora, and I rode Flight of Passage.
Okay.
Have you heard of this attraction?
I have not.
Okay. So it's a altered reality attraction. It's AR.
Or augmented reality.
Yep. Sorry, augmented. So you get on this. It looks like a motorcycle cradle ride vehicle, whatever. Basically, you sit on it, you straddle it. There's something for you to hold on to the front, and then it closes in on your legs and pushes you in on the back just to make sure you don't fall off. Okay. And then you ride. Have you seen Avatar?
Yeah.
It simulates you riding an Ekron.
That's
or a
insane.
Banshee. Yes. So the ride thing that you're on, it tilts left, right, forward, back, and in between your legs, it puffs out. So it's like the Ekron is breathing underneath you. Okay. And then in front of you is this huge screen that's close, but yeah, and it's Like it doesn't matter. Like you turn right, you see the screen. You turn left, you see the screen.
And is it like 3D glasses or something?
Yeah, it's kind of like 3D glasses. Yeah, they are 3D glasses, but they're different than other 3D glasses I've worn. But then you fly, and it's like blowing air in your face. There's this part where you're like flying towards the water, and you're riding like in the curl of a wave, and you're being spritzed, and it smells like the ocean. And there's another part where you like land in a cave, and it smells like dirt and moss and fungus. And
Wow.
it is the most immersive attraction, ride, whatever that I have ever done. And let me tell you something. The only other time I felt like I was flying like that was in my dreams.
That is pretty awesome. That reminds me of a fantastic thing I saw, and I don't know where you can go and still do this, but it used I want to say one of the current off the shelf um, the VR headsets, right?
Yeah.
But it had this very complex, fairly complex custom rig that you laid down on, right? And you put your arms out to your sides, and it had things for you to put your arms on that would support them, right?
Uh-huh.
And then there's a thing for your feet, and then a fan, right? And you are a bird, okay? and it uses like a pneumatic system or some hydraulics to make it so you flap your arms, and you can twist your arms forward and back and spread your feet, side to side to flare your tail, right?
Uh-huh.
And basically it's designed that you make the movements a bird makes, and it turns out people will do this all by pure instinct, and because of the pneumatics, it doesn't wear you out to flap and stuff because it assists you. But you flap your arms, and you can fly around a selection of cities, right? And they say it is the most realistic feeling because, like, you flap and you flap faster, and you go faster and higher, and you twist your arms to, flare to like break and stuff the way birds do.
Uh-huh.
And apparently, human instinct, like, we know how to fly, we just can't because it comes just instinctively. People start doing all the right things, and you get to. And they say it's insanely immersive because the whole thing rocks and tilts. Like if you can lean up and fly up and dive and and swoop and all this stuff. It looks like so much fun. I want to try it.
Yeah, it sounds fun.
I think there was one in San Francisco, so you can, and they have this VR model of San Francisco. You can swoop and fly around above and whatnot. It looks amazing.
Yeah.
But
that sounds good. But yeah, the Pandora ride though, Jake.
Just insane.
It's insane.
It sounds like a lot of fun. I'm not gonna lie. While you were talking about it, I looked up a video on YouTube so I could get the gist of it, and it looks beautiful.
Oh, it is, and the videos don't do it justice because it's hard to record something that's slightly 3D.
Yeah, it's clearly just a 2D video, and
right,
I'm sure they have incredibly high resolution screens for that sort of thing.
Right, and also it's just like that whole feeling because like the thing you're on is like breathing.
And it moves and
it moves. Like okay, there's a point where you're starting to land,
right?
And you hear the wings flap, and you feel the body underneath you. It's like it's coming in with the breathing, like it's like and like everything just feels real.
That's impressive. That sounds like a lot of fun. See, that sort of stuff like that, like is what I feel like VR is meant for. Like they're trying to make these, lots of video games and stuff, but I think that it's a real special use application, like the flying things where the controls are intuitive, but it's because they've talked about like making someone walk in VR is like motion sickness inducing to the extreme all the time.
So, have you heard of the Void?
No.
Okay, so you should check out the Void. They do a VR experience. They do VR experiences, and they do one where they have one where they've set up where you can be a stormtrooper, and you're part of like the First Order, and you're like walking around doing your thing, and it's evidently extremely immersive. You don't get the motion sick out of it. But you're actually walking around doing things.
See, that's the thing they've talked about is the hardest thing is moving around. Because if you don't absolutely nail that and it's not a one-to-one with what the player is doing, it makes you dizzy.
Yep. Yeah, no, absolutely. So yeah, I think that that you're right. I think that the attractions are going to become more focused like this.
Mm-hmm.
But I think until they can start doing a neural interface VR
Yeah,
for games,
there's
it's
a
probably
few
a bit far
things they
off.
might find. There's a lot of it is if you find the right kind of game. I remember reading or hearing about one that was a where you play a robot, right? And you're in a space station, okay? And so there's no gravity. And
Uh huh.
so all of your movements are based on shoving off of things, which makes it where, and it used some of those controllers that you hold in your hands, right? And or motion
Oh,
tracking,
like the Vive.
like
Yep.
the Vive. And they said that one, weirdly enough, because you're moving, pushing with your hands most of the time to move, and you can see your hands in the game, and you expect to be a little motion sick because you're supposed to be weightless, actually works really well. It doesn't make you really motion sick, but and everything is real
Mm-hmm.
slow and careful movements because if you do anything quick, you'll tumble out of control and it's a giant mess, just like in space. And they said that was the most freedom of movement they'd ever encountered in a VR game that didn't make you sick because of the way you moved. And I think addressing things like that, again, like the flying ones, they don't make you sick because you're moving in such a unique way that your body expects it to be different to a certain extent. So I think, to a certain extent, almost embracing the fact that this might make you a little dizzy, but that's going to be, I don't know, something. It's again all
Yeah.
special use and attraction type things. And there are a few neat things out there, like there's a system that you basically stand in this weird plastic funnel with weird shoes, and you can run like full tilt. It holds you by your waist, and you can your feet treadle on the ground, and the whole thing translates through. It looks ridiculous while anyone's doing it, but it lets you have full freedom of movement, and you can spin around and walk and do all this stuff, and not stumble across your living room. So that's an interesting thing too. I've been
All
excited
right.
about VR since they really started succeeding at it with these newer generation of hardware. Haven't gotten to try any of it, but I
I
can see it
have.
being a ton of fun.
I'm really looking forward to the new Vive. It's gonna be coming out soon.
Mm-hmm.
Because the one that they announced at CES.
Mm-hmm.
Because it has it's wireless. They've
Yeah,
improved their wireless technology, so you don't have the big ass cable
yeah.
following you around.
The battery capabilities and the wireless throughput capabilities are what's going to make or break
Yep.
that. Because you have to have a fat wireless pipe to be able to push that much visual data and not have it lag and be weird.
I
Well, I think that just about covers it for today, doesn't it?
think so. You have a quote?
I'm going to quote Dory and say, just keep swimming.
I'm gonna quote Simon Pegg.
Okay.
Suddenly, the world I had scrutinized for so long was all around me, as if I had leaned forward and climbed into the television like Alice through the looking glass. I had no idea just how deep the rabbit hole would go.
You actually found an apropos quote. I am impressed.
I know. And how jaded are you?
Right now,
Yeah,
I don't know, like a 6, maybe a
I'm at a
5,
4.
maybe a 4. Vacillating here. Things are getting
Vacillating
better. Things are
hard.
getting much better. I'm going to go with a 4.
Oh, well done.
Well, anyways, if you liked what you've heard here today, feel free to follow us on Twitter to be updated when new podcasts are posted. And remember to subscribe on Stitcher, iTunes, Google Play,
Podbean.
Podbean, and other places fine podcasts are pervade.
You can also email us at proteaspodcast@gmail.com.
And we will use your comments if they are appropriate.
It's true.
It's true. All that being said, I've been Jacob.
And I'm still Danielle.
And we have been the Proteus Podcast. Good night, everyone.